Hey Isaac, what you playing right there? Oh hey, what's up Jimmy? I'm just playing a little Undertale. Dang, is that like an old game or something? Oh nah, it came out in like 2015. Wait, why does it look like it came out in 1990 then? Alright, let me explain the trend of video game graphics to you. Haha, you announced that title like this is like some sort of like school project or something. So, video games look very different now than they did like back in the Atari days. Back then you really had to use your brain to understand what was going on in these games. Like this? Yeah, this is supposed to be a gorilla. Bro looks like he belongs in a gingerbread house, but on the box it showed Donkey Kong in his intended way, so that the kids of the era knew what they were looking at when they were playing the game. As time went on though, graphics ended up getting more advanced. In 1994, the PlayStation came out and completely outshined the competition with its innovative 3D graphics. Although not the greatest in the world by today's standards, these graphics were revolutionary for the time. Soon some competition would come to the market of 3D gaming, with Nintendo bringing out the Nintendo 64 in 1996. As time went by, it's natural that graphics got better and better and better, but the question is, by what metric did they get better? Graphics back then seemed to be seen as like realistic equals better. You can see this with a lot of like Sony and Microsoft games. But as the years went by, it seemed like the goal for each new console was that each game would look more lifelike than the last. Nintendo was kinda doing their own thing in the corner. Heck, they still kinda are. But overall, I'd say this also goes for them around the time. Let's take Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Wii, for example. Mario's overalls were hyper-realistic denim. It's Mario. I'm not saying this is bad at all. Games with realistic art styles can be amazing, and the realism can really let you get sucked into the world. Take, say, Spider-Man for the PS4. This game is pretty dang realistic, graphics-wise. The problem arises when we start to go a little further. I feel like going further than this is when we start to reach the uncanny valley. The uncanny valley is basically when something is like so close to human but just isn't quite there yet and gives you like this unsettling feeling. Think like the Polar Express. I feel like some of these hyper-realistic games are sort of getting to that point now. And here's where we get into how the trend has sort of changed a bit in the most recent years. We've seen a lot more games with really cool and stylized art styles in recent years than we ever have before. The rise in indie games have definitely helped this. Indie games are games that are created by an independent studio not connected to any of the big studios such as Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo. These games don't have nearly as big of budgets as like the big AAAs have, so they have to get a little more creative with the graphics. Rather than having these ultra-realistic graphics like the AAA games are going for, a lot of developers go for more cartoony art styles, and some of them even go back to pixel art like the old days. Even though many AAA developers are still going for this realistic aesthetic, many are also moving towards this more cartoony style of graphics. Obviously, some games like Call of Duty and GTA are always going to strive to have realistic graphics because those games are meant to simulate real life. A game series that shows this shift in design philosophy when it comes to the AAA sphere is Crash Bandicoot. In the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy that came out in 2019, you can see this game has a bit more of a realistic spin to it. It's still cartoony, don't get me wrong, but like you can see the individual tufts of fur on this guy's body. It has a lot of detail. Now if we look forward to Crash Bandicoot 4, the next game in the series, we see that the design philosophy has clearly shifted to a much more cartoony style. All that being said, I think this more cartoony trend is great for the gaming industry. Although going too far one way or too far the other is always going to be a problem, I feel like we're at a good middle ground right now. This trend allows us to have a plethora of art styles in many different types of games. The realistic art style stays and keeps on getting better in the games that utilize it, and the cartoony art style can be used and refined in the games that use it. Of course, art is subjective, and everyone has their own opinions on what looks best, but overall, I think graphics and gaming are going in a good direction that will allow game developers to be creative and do whatever they want visually within the games they create. So as long as we stick on the trajectory that we're going on right now, we should be good. Alright, thoughts, Jimmy? Jimmy? Oh yeah, sorry, I was looking at this little caterpillar guy here. The last thing I got was something about Spider-Man. Could you, restart from there?